SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is the opening line show that we do every Monday with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, where we take a look at the current opening lines for the upcoming NFL week, and we think about which ones might move, which ones might attract big public action, and which ones might attract, might wind up being a sharp side. Right now, we're looking ahead to NFL Week 10. Joe Duffy, thanks for being back with us.
Thank you, Peter. Let's pick some more winners.
All right. Now, before we get into these opening lines, just to congratulate you one more time. 17-7 against the spread in your NFL picks with us in our videos this year so far. That's just a super impressive record. There's no other way to put it.
Well, I was called the NFL specialist back in the 1980s on the Score Phone days, and I've kept it. Now you can see why.
Again, that record is 17-7 against the spread from Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks so much, Joe, for all the free winnings you've given us. All right, let's get into these opening lines for NFL Week 10. A lot of interesting lines this week. The first one, Denver, right? Every time Denver has a line, the over gets pounded. I bet it was 56. I think it's already up to 57. They're playing against San Diego. You know, Phillip Rivers, we know what he can do. What do you make of this total? Is it, again, just like they can't make that total high enough?
Well, I had a feeling I knew what your first question was going to be, and yet again, we agreed 2,000%. The people that buy my picks, the one thing they know is they're always buying the picks that I'm going to bet. The only exceptions are what we're exactly talking about. Every now and then, I say lines are almost guaranteed to move this way, and I'm going to grab it as soon as it comes out,
right,
with at the very least the option of middling it. And that, exactly what you said, I bet it at over 56.5. I believe this will close a bare minimum of 60. So we agree 2,000,000%.
All right, well, I don't know exactly what kind of action we'll see from the sharps on that line, but I can guarantee you that's going to be just like, you know, a 12-to-1 ratio in terms of public money on the over, and probably also on Denver -7 as a road favorite. I mean, you know, the Chargers off of that deflating loss last week to Washington, just looking like the kind of team you don't want to have money on. I had the Chargers last week. I lost. So I'm assuming that Denver's also going to be just a big public play on the side.
Yeah, no, like we say almost every week, whenever in doubt, if you're going to bet which direction the money is going to be going, it's going to be with a road favorite. The public, yes. The sharp money, maybe not. For years, we have said that Phillip Rivers is high on our list of predictably unpredictable guys, and for years, he has bounced back from bad efforts with tremendous effort. So the public money, yes. The sharp money could be disagreeing with them.
Right, and then the second line, almost equally interesting, I think, is Seattle at Atlanta, right? Atlanta's a 6-point home underdog. They're having, like, all kinds of problems. We know that. But Seattle is looking like they're really, you know, sort of like struggling to the finish line in terms of their season right before the bye. And I'm not sure they should be this big of a favorite over any NFL team. I'm thinking that Atlanta at +6 at home might be a big sharp side this week.
Yeah, no, you're correct. One of those angles that we use more so in the NBA than other sports is what we call our dichotomous straight up and ATS theory. When a team is winning but not covering, or vice versa, they're a bad team that's losing a lot, but they are covering, all of a sudden going with the spread trend is the sharp play. So I would agree with you there. Seattle is, their victory yesterday against Tampa Bay, if that's not the all-time poster child for winning ugly,
right,
I don't know what is. But still, at the end of the day, they did win, and the public overrates one-loss records. So I would agree. Once again, the sharps might lean towards the home dog, but the public, I think they're still going to bet Seattle because Seattle still won the game outright.
Really? You think the public is going to bet Seattle? You don't think the public's going to, you know, feel the pain from whatever losses they took betting them last week and shy away from them?
Now, another quote that I've used that I've heard voiced by quite a few squares, they say to me something along the lines, if I'm going to lose a game, I'd rather lose betting the superior team, and that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But no, all in all, the public still will always love to bet a superior team, even if it means laying big points on the road. So if anything, they may pass, but will the public all of a sudden start betting against Seattle? I say highly unlikely.
Okay, by the way, one thing, would you mind not using the term squares? Would you mind using public or rec players? Because squares is kind of a pejorative term, and look, most of our audience is squares. They prefer to, it's just like less insulting to refer to them as the public or just recreational players, just guys having fun.
You're right. I shall.
Thanks a lot. All right, yeah. Looking at that Seattle game, I mean, do you think that was a situation of a case of, you know, Tampa Bay just playing way better than people expected, or is maybe Seattle having some real fundamental problems that aren't being priced into their lines yet?
Well, yeah, in the case of Seattle, I think they were a very good team. Whether or not they were a spectacular team it remains to be seen. We actually did have Seattle as a team that we thought would be a pretty good go against this year. Quite frankly, we hadn't been necessarily correct. It gets back to our old theory about when first-year quarterbacks, they don't always have to be rookies, but in this case they were. It was a rookie in Russell Wilson. When he comes off a spectacular year, they're generally pretty good fades the next year. Turns out maybe we're being correct a little bit later than we expected. Now, I don't think Seattle is necessarily one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the NFL, and I do think they are finally regressing to their mean.
And then another line's very interesting, right? Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jacksonville's like the anti-Denver. Tennessee's a 13-point home favorite over Jacksonville. Jacksonville is coming off the bye. Justin Blackmon is out. And, you know, the question everyone kind of wonders is, why is Jacksonville that bad?
Yeah, well, remember, we said a couple weeks ago that Blackmon coming back was going to be a big boost for them, at least spread-wise, where they were going to be able to be much more competitive. Now, all of a sudden, Jacksonville is back to being easily the worst team in the league. And although Jake Locker didn't perform all that well last week, the Titans are still much better with Locker. But most importantly, the Titans do have some motivation to run up the score, so to speak, not necessarily run up the score, but they want to give Locker some confidence. So I think even if they're up by, double digits in the fourth quarter, in order to look at the big picture, get Locker some confidence, I do believe they have motivation to continue to keep the gas on the gas pedal.
All right, well, I guess I'm assuming that Tennessee is going to be a big public play here, even at minus 13. I mean, anyone who bet them last week, won. So I'm assuming that, those guys will all bet them again.
Yeah, I can 100% say, especially with Blackmon out, that the public has no interest in betting the Jaguars. So this is another one where they're either going to bet against Jacksonville or they're going to pass. But there's no way the public will be betting on the big dog here.
All right, and then another very interesting line, not on the spread, but more on the total, is Carolina, San Francisco. Now, this total is 41.5 or 42, but both of these offenses have been very, very productive. Both can easily, put up 30 against anyone. The Panthers have scored more than 30 points in 4 straight games, and of course we know what San Francisco can do. So, but then again, of course Carolina has an awesome front seven. San Francisco, very defense-oriented team as well. So I'm wondering, who do you think is going to win out here, the offenses or defenses?
Well, the 49ers are also getting Eric Wright back to their very, very good defensive backs. They have one of the best secondaries in the NFL, and they may have just gotten better. But all in all, with the low total, with 2 explosive quarterbacks, I definitely think that the public will bet on the over, and the sharps might agree with them because, with quarterbacks this explosive and a total that low, it does look quite tempting for everybody involved.
All right, well, those are all the widely available openers that I wanted to ask about. Then there's 5 other games that have opening lines that are open in a few minor places, but they're not widely available right now, and they're not open at any of the big major pro books yet, so I guess they're not very significant. Is there anything else from the opening lines that you think is worth noting right now?
Well, not quite a slam dunk, as we said, with the Denver Broncos, where you almost know the public is going to bet that up. When the Eagles total comes out next week, especially with Nick Foles coming off that historic game yesterday, we know that Chip Kelly loves to play that up-tempo offense. I think with the way Foles played yesterday, Kelly is going to, I guess I'll use that term again, he is going to keep his foot on the gas pedal. There's going to be plenty of snaps. It's going to be a high-tempo game, so I do look for the public to most likely bet the Philadelphia Eagles total up big time.
All right, I guess that's about it for our openers show, NFL Week 10. Thanks so much, Joe. Talk to you again next week.